Puppet Bomber, an archetype that was never meant to exist. He uses two major identifications in order to make this playstyle even work. Unfortunately, this playstyle also violates the Geneva Conventions. According to Article 77 of the 1949 Geneva Convention, you are not allowed to enlist anyone under 15 to fight for you. The puppets are enlisted to fight for you as soon as they're born. Additionally, Article 3 states that all forms of slavery practices cannot be used. You're literally enslaving newborns to sacrifice their lives for you. Additionally, Article 86 states that just because the actions were carried out by a subordinate, this does not mean the superiors are absolved of responsibility. Therefore, if you play Puppet Bomber, you're literally violating the Geneva Convention. So, today, I'm going to teach you guys how to play Puppet Bomber so you guys can enslave your own children and violate the Geneva Conventions in Wynncraft. For starters, we need to learn about the major IDs that make Puppet Bomber function. The major identification strings of fate removes the puppet's will to live. Their lifespan will be reduced to 3 seconds. They'll get massive explosive power because we decided to implant bombs in their body. This violates Article 11 of the Geneva Conventions because this is technically biologically mutating or experimenting on literal children. The next identification is dead weight. This basically makes totems easier to launch horizontally so you can have better accuracy when shooting your totem. Now, on to the abilities. For starters, if you're going to be committing war crimes, you really don't want to show your face. Therefore, we'll be using Mystic Mask to secure our identity. We'll be mainly using the Fanatic and Heretic Mask. The Fanatic Mask will allow us to activate Totemic Shatter, which will instantly summon multiple puppets to bomb our enemies. The Heretic Mask will be used to maneuver around as it gives significant walk speed. We will also be using tribal chants to buff ourselves and our allies. This will bring the facade that we're a good person and a team player, so no one will ever suspect that we're actually war criminals. Finally, we'll be taking the Awakened node, and this gives us the benefits of all the masks without any of the downsides. Therefore, it is imperative that you have this when playing Puppet Bomber, and maybe I'll finally awaken to the true meaning of life. To play Puppet Bomber is pretty simple. First, you swap to the Mask of the Fanatic. Then, you use a weapon like Lower to quickly build up Awakened. When your Awakened bar is full, you uproot again to enter Awakened state. Now you just spam 3 to 4 totems and an aura. Remember to refresh all your chants by cycling through the masks. Then you'll see puppets spawn and then charge into the enemy for the greater good. Remember, you can buff your teammates with your chants to prove to them that you're a benevolent person that can do no wrong. So, is there any benefits to playing Puppet Bomber? I'd say yes, there are benefits to playing Puppet Bomber. You have good utility, you have strong buffs, you can have high HP, and you can buff your teams. I think those are very good reasons to play Puppet Bomber. Well, ignoring all the war crimes, of course. Therefore, I think Puppet Bomber demonstrates to us, if you put aside ethics completely, you end up with a pretty effective and efficient system. Now, onto the downsides of playing Puppet Bomber. In the Fruma expansion, there really wasn't anything that benefited Puppet Bomber. In fact, the Strings of Fate Major ID got nerfed heavily, reducing its damage by 50%. Additionally, Puppet Bomber is bound to the Strings of Fate and deadweight major identifications. On top of Puppet Bomber's very mana-hungry spell cycle, it makes it very difficult to build, as you're more likely to use Dwindled Knowledge or Anamnesius as your helmet. Your ring slot is most likely going to be Yang due to the damage and stats it provides, and you're basically left with nothing. And items are added in the Fruma expansion, such as Samsara, simply just requires too many skill points for us to use. Other than items though, since we genetically modified the puppets to not have a will to live, they'll just run into the first enemy they see and have no way of controlling which enemies they hit. The genetic modifications has also led to our puppets developing nearsightedness. When you're too far away from the enemy, The puppets will come to you instead of sacrificing themselves for the greater good by running into the enemy and exploding. I'm starting to see why we have conventions for these things because they tend to never work out, but whatever. In conclusion, I do think that Puppet Bomber is definitely worth your try. This is a very unique playstyle because it's unique from all the other shaman archetypes. Puppet Bomber encourages you to have a more active playstyle rather than the passive playstyle other shaman archetypes have. Anyways, I hope this video was informative and enjoyable for some of you. Goodbye!